And we're live with another episode of Blockbuster Underground. I know it's been a month, so sorry. Anyhow, today I've been having to mull over this one for a little bit because I saw it. What day did I see this? Last Thursday, I think. Yeah, I saw it last Thursday. No, last Wednesday. Anyway, whatever. Had to really put some thought to this review because, as most I think know, big musical theater nerd, way back from the day. Phantom of the Opera, Les Mis, Miss Saigon, you name it. So I am well versed with this show. I've seen it on stage in Toronto. I know the soundtrack backwards and forwards pretty much by now. And I'd seen a bunch of different Evans performing throughout the days, starting with Ben Platt back in 2017, I think was his debut, all the way up to some of the more current ones, including Jordan Fisher, who showed up on Flash last season. I was like, what the fuck is Evan Hansen doing here? It was a sight to be seen. Anyway, so the movie, they decided to make a movie out of the play, out of the musical. So we're going to go into spoiler territory here because this show's been out for a dog's age, and anyone who doesn't know the story yet or hasn't seen the show, sorry. The basic premise of the movie, both, is Evan Hansen's this kid in high school who's got severe anxiety and depression. He's popping a bunch of pills and going to therapists, the whole 9 yards, real mental health issues. And one of his assignments from his therapist is to write himself a letter every morning. Dear Evan Hansen, today's going to be great because this is going to happen and that's going to happen and blah, 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 blah. And so he's doing that as a therapy for things. So he goes to school and bumps into this kid, Connor, who first off, he knocks him down in the hallway and basically is like a prick. And turns out he's got mental health issues too. Evan's got a cast on it because he fell out of a tree or something. I don't know, they kind of go into more backstory on that in the movie here too, so we'll get to it. So he's got a cast on for most of the show until I think right at the very end. And this kid Connor signs his name on the cast. And he's like, so now we can both pretend we've got friends. Kind of weird thing to say after just knocking my ass down in the hallway 20 minutes before. So Connor winds up grabbing one of these letters that Evan's writing to himself for therapy and sees his sister's name in the letter because Evan was writing about his sister Zoe and everything, well, whatever. So he grabs the letter, takes off, and Evan's freaking out, going, oh no, I'm in big trouble now. Next thing you know, he gets called into the principal's office a few days later, and Connor's parents are sitting there and they're like, yeah, so he had this in his pocket the night we found him dead. He killed himself. And then Evan, this was really fucked up too. It gnawed at me a little bit more after I'd seen the play and really sat and thought about what I just witnessed. But he's basically, I think one reviewer, was it Dan Morell, referred to him as a, what was it, psychotic intrusion kind of thing, totally fucking with this family's mind, making them think that he knew Connor and they had this big friendship together. And he goes and writes a bunch of emails back and forth between them, fake ones obviously, making up this whole backstory bullshit, and ends up, there's this school project they want to do where they want to make the Connor project and restore this orchard, and it's going to cost $100,000, and they're trying to fundraise for it. He goes out on stage to kind of say more bullshit about him and Buddy having a fucking friendship, and that's where the You Will Be Found song comes in, big huge musical number at the end of Act 1 if I'm not mistaken, on stage. So he, at the same time, starts dating dating Connor's sister, Zoe, and while he's spewing all the bullshit to the parents. And it ends up, basically, he gets found out. And he admits to it. He goes, I never knew him. All these fucking emails, they're fake. And that's where the stage play kind of just ends abruptly. Like, they build the orchard at the end of the play, and, you know, there's a nice little musical number at the end, but he doesn't really get any forgiveness for what he did, and why he would do it in the first place is just horrible. Like, the grieving family and, like, shit. It's a rough subject matter for sure. Some really good songs in and amongst all of that, though. The same guys that did the music for La La Land and Greatest Showman. So, tunes are good. Subject matter is a little on the side. I mean, some people I've heard saying it glorified suicide. In that so much that, you know, after Connor killed himself, everybody rallied and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then it kind of demeaned mental health issues, because almost every kid in this fucking movie's got mental health issues. There's one scene literally in the movie where him and Amanda, hang on, I want to get these names right. Amanda Stenberg, who played Alana, the school president. There's one scene with her and Evan where they're basically listing off all the different pills they're taking and how many milligrams and stuff like that. So, I don't know. The music was still good, don't get me wrong. The movie cut out at least 2 songs that I remember. And for some reason, Amy Adams, having a musical background, only has 1 song in this whole movie. The main one that they cut was the Anyone Got a Map, which is the opening of the movie, normally, whereas the movie opens with Waving Through a Window. So it's kind of all over the place, and then there's this big stretch at the end of the movie where he's like trying to find out everything he can about Connor, and, you know, emailing people that knew him and getting more information here and there, and like looking up what his favorite list of books was and reading every one of them. And they build the orchard at the end of the movie, and he sees the sister, and she's like, oh, I wish we could have met now. And she's like, obviously never going to speak to him again after this. But yeah, that's basically where the story ends, which is, again, abrupt. But they don't, I don't know, it's hard to explain. They don't really forgive, he doesn't get forgiven for any of the bullshit he pulled, but there's not really any sort of ramifications towards him, other than, you know, everybody's like, you're a fucking dick, for a little while, and then everything's fine again. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyone who loves the musical will probably love the movie. My biggest gripe, though, in the grand scheme of things, is Ben Platt playing Evan. Come on, dude. You're a good singer, I get it. Props, respect, but you're no fucking teenager in high school anymore, dude. Like, come on, there's been tons of people you could cast who look like they're in high school. Like, look at what happened with Spider-Man. Come on. So yeah, that's my biggest gripe, is aside from the 2 songs they cut, that 2, I'm pretty sure 2. Anyway, we'll get to that. And they added 1. No, they added 2. Yeah, so they basically replaced 2 songs. Because Alana got a big, nice long song in this, which was well done. And Connor has a song at the end that was never in the play. So, I didn't read the book, so it may have been in there as well, but I'm just going by what I saw on the stage and what I know of the soundtrack and the film. So, there is one point, I will admit, flat out, there is one point where I did roll a tear, and it's funny because it's the exact same spot that I rolled a tear in the stage show. And it's actually a throwaway bit on the stage show. Is Connor's dad, during the You Will Be Found, like, he's in total denial to begin with that the kid killed himself. And there's the one point during You Will Be Found that he walks in and just breaks down and hugs his wife. And that got me in the movie too. Although they really built it up more in the movie. In the stage show, if you're not looking for it, you may not even see it, depending on where you're looking on the stage. But for some reason, I caught that on the stage and made me roll a tear, and made me roll a tear in the movie. And I will say props to Danny Pino for playing the husband. Amy Adams plays Cynthia. Caitlin Deaver is Zoe. She was in the stage show too, I believe. Julianne Moore is Heidi, Evan's mom. Then Ben Platt as Evan. Mandela Stenberg is Alana. Colton Ryan is Connor. Nick Dodani, I liked him as Jared. He was funny as fuck. Sincerely Me bit, oh my god. And like, he had some killer lines. Yeah, that's pretty much the main cast. But yeah, I mean, they cut a lot. They cut Anyone's Got a Map. They cut the baseball glove song that the dad had. Let me pull up the soundtrack here. I got it on my phone just to compare. It's funny. I got the soundtrack, the Broadway score on my phone, and I've got the soundtrack on my computer. Kind of cross-reference them here. Yeah, Anyone Have a Map was gone. Requiem was still there. That's the one song Amy Adams did have to sing in. If I Could Tell Her, yeah. Disappear, yeah. Will Be Found. Breaking a Glove, they cut. Good for You. Words Fail. So Big, So Small. Finale. Yeah. So, Anyone Have a Map and Breaking in a Glove. They cut and they put in a couple other songs, which I'm not going to look up right now because, anyhow. But yeah, good movie. I really think they should have gone for someone else playing Evan. Like, come on, Ben Platt, get out of your own way with your ego. Like, produce it, play another character. I mean, hell, like, you could have, I don't know. But yeah, so worth seeing. It's probably going to be on demand sooner rather than later. Think about this. We got basically a 45-day window now for movies from when they hit theater to when they're available, like, to stream. So I personally will not be going to the theater for anything anytime soon. And that's because the last time we went, which was Shang-Chi, there was no social distancing. People were coughing and sneezing and everything like that. So yeah, no, thank you. But yeah, so that's my 2 cents worth on Evan Hansen. If you love the musical, you'll probably love the movie. Agree with me if you want to, or disagree regarding the Ben Platt thing. I think almost 28 years old, trying to play like a 16-year-old. No. But other than that, it was pretty decent. And yeah, so I'm going to tune off now, and we will catch you on the next episode.